We've talked on the YouTube channel about Mortal Kombat and this series, looking forward as to what the future may hold for this franchise. And I want to talk about Mortal Kombat 12, the highly anticipated game that, hasn't been 100% confirmed at this point, but I believe it's just a matter of time until we get an announcement. I want to talk about a very early top 5 things that we want in Mortal Kombat 12. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions here. Some of those thoughts and opinions you may agree with, you may disagree with. Let me know either way in the comment section down below what you guys want to see in Mortal Kombat 12. So let's get into it. Coming in, guys, at number 1. This one's relatively obvious, but obviously we want new characters, arenas, combos, executions. All of those things are going to be very important when we're talking making this game feel different. There'll be a separation from, obviously, Mortal Kombat 11 to 12. I actually personally think that the 11th Mortal Kombat was the best one, in my opinion. I absolutely love the way that that game feels, how it's been consistently serviced at this point in time, continuous characters being added, and things of that nature. So I want to see new characters. I, of course, want to see existing characters already in the Mortal Kombat franchise, but I always think having new characters is very important. The same thing can be said for the arenas, where you're playing or where you're fighting, guys. Those are very important as well as, of course, combos and executions are pretty much two of the biggest things when it comes to a Mortal Kombat title. And so we want to see similarities, but we also want to see those differences, and that's what's going to make it really feel different from the other, Mortal Kombat games, and that's going to be really important moving into this title. At number 2, guys, this is one, personally, I have really actually enjoyed the campaigns of Mortal Kombat of the past, and I would really like to see an extended campaign here. Generally speaking, the Mortal Kombat campaign isn't technically a super long experience, and so what I'd like to see is more story here with Mortal Kombat 12. I think it's really important, guys, when we're talking about world building, when we're talking about continuing the legacy, the lore, the story of Mortal Kombat, I think it's going to be important to have an extended story, an extended campaign that we can play on our downtime from playing the multiplayer, which is what mostly everyone plays, is, those multiplayer experiences in Mortal Kombat. And look, up to this point, when we're talking about Mortal Kombat 12, you've had 11 other games before it, right? So obviously they've had a lot to be able to build up this franchise and such, but it's going to be really important, in my opinion, to extend the campaign and story into Mortal Kombat 12 for the next generation of gaming because of the new consoles coming out and things of that nature. You can really take advantage of the graphics and, just all of those things is going to be really important, I think, for Mortal Kombat 12. Coming in, guys, at number 3 for me, I want to see more co-op modes. Co-op, guys, is a big thing to me as well. I've always stated that every AAA title should have a full package. And when I say full package, I mean a full campaign, co-op modes, and multiplayer modes. And so those are the 3 things that make a full package for a game. You don't really want to have one without the other, and because if you give up one thing, it's going to kind of either diminish or slowly, kind of decrease the size of like the fan base and such, because if you take away multiplayer from Mortal Kombat, you're going to lose a huge amount of that fan base that loves playing multiplayer. You take away the campaign, you're going to lose people to that. And so I think having all of these different ways you can connect with the franchise is the best way moving forward. So co-op, guys, playing with your friends is always a big deal. Whether you want to talk co-op missions, you want to talk about playing, against other people around the world in 2v2 combat, things of that nature could really, I believe, could kind of make an incredible experience as we move forward into, Mortal Kombat 12. I think that it could build upon what they've already started, what they do very well with the 1v1 type of style fight, but having that even, kind of go to the next level with 2v2 could be something really special. Coming in at number 4, I've stated this a lot of times, guys, and I've really felt that every game out there, if you're talking there's a competitive game mode in a specific title that comes out, I've always stated that it needs to be an esports title, that they need to really put emphasis on esports. And, that goes from, every game out there, that has competitive game modes. And Mortal Kombat obviously has an esports side, right? And it's done pretty well in the past. I've stated that a lot of times tournaments and such don't want to host Mortal Kombat because of how gory it is and such. And we've talked about that. and how they can maybe, you know, kind of tone down on the gore and such of Mortal Kombat for the esports side of things. But nonetheless, at number 4, I want there to be even more emphasis on esports, because I think that Mortal Kombat is a very special title in the fighting scene. Sure, you've got Smash. Sure, you've got some of these other titles, guys, you know, like Tekken and Street Fighter that do a really good job as far as from the esports perspective. But I think Mortal Kombat needs to coexist with esports, but I think it needs to be even bigger than some of these other titles out there in the fighting space. And I think it could absolutely be that. I just want to see more of an emphasis on the esports side, because it really does help grow your scene in a major way. It's, you know, it continues that competitiveness that is the fighting scene. And I also think, guys, that it would continue helping the growth of the franchise and the fan base. Now, as far as the esports side goes, one way that they could definitely grow the esports side is, you know, if all the different tournaments out there could be, you know, would accept Mortal Kombat if they tone down on the gore and such. And I know a lot of you out there have stated that you don't like this concept of toning down on the gore in a video game because it kind of takes away from the actual experience. But at the end of the day, guys, when you think about it, more people are going to be able to watch Mortal Kombat if it's toned down on the gore and such. Pretty much everybody of all ages are able to watch it. The same thing kind of goes with Smash. You see Smash, and that's a game that is for everyone. Mortal Kombat, with, you know, deep under its roots, is obviously a very mature game for a mature audience. But if you make it seem, you know, for the esports side at least, that it's a little bit more lighthearted, even though it's very violent, it doesn't have quite as much gore and such, I think they could do really well with that. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comment section down below on the about the emphasis of esports for Mortal Kombat 12. And coming in, guys, last but not least, at number 5, for me, you know, Mortal Kombat has done such a good job over the years. You know, they've had, you know, peaks and valleys within the franchise. Some games are better than others in the franchise. It's like any franchise out there. It's like Call of Duty. Call of Duty has so many titles that have come out, and, you know, some are really great, others are not so good. So, you know, there's peaks and valleys with any of these franchises, especially when you start getting up there with the number of titles that some of these franchises have. Mortal Kombat certainly is one of them. What I'd like to see, guys, is I want Mortal Kombat to do what they do best, to do what they do, but to keep evolving. I think it's something that's very important, you know, especially for a fighting game. Think of it like this. You have a title, and say similar to like Madden or FIFA, where it's basically a copy and paste every year. Sure, they update the graphics slightly, they do little things here and there, but overall, it's a copy and paste. See, Mortal Kombat, guys, has this opportunity where it can be somewhat of a copy and paste because it's a fighting game, and there's only so much you can do with it. But at the same time, you can continue evolving it. You can continue evolving by, of course, the combos, of course, the characters, the different arenas, the extended campaign, the co-op modes, 2v2 fights, you know, things of that nature to keep people coming back, to keep it fresh, where people aren't going back to the older Mortal Kombat games. They're playing the most recent up-to-date one because it's got the most content for people to absorb and take in. I think that's going to be really important here. Do what you do, Mortal Kombat, but keep evolving. Don't get complacent with just a copy and paste just to, you know, make some quick money. More so, just keep evolving over time, adding things as you go. And I think Mortal Kombat could continue, you know, climbing the ladder of one of the best, you know, fighting games in the world. But with that, guys, those are the top 5 things that I want to see in Mortal Kombat 12. Let me know what you guys want to see in the game in the comment section down below. And for more Mortal Kombat 12 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.